Imagine you are reading a novel. You come across the word tree. Instantly, a picture appears in your mind: roots, trunk, branches, leaves.
The meaning seems obvious, stable, and universally understandable.
But what if I told you that one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century argued that the meaning of tree is never fully fixed?
What if every word depends on other words? What if every text contains contradictions? And meaning is always slipping away from our grasp.
Welcome to one of the greatest intellectual revolutions in literary theory, the shift from structuralism to post-structuralism.
Today, we will explore how the linguistic ideas of the Swiss scholar Ferdinand de Saussure laid the foundation for structuralism,
and how thinkers such as Jacques Derrida challenged those assumptions, giving birth to post-structuralism. By the end of this lecture, you will understand what structuralism is, why it became so influential, why post-structuralism emerged, how Derrida challenged Saussure, and why this debate transformed literary studies forever. To understand structuralism, we must begin with language. Before the 20th century, language was often viewed as a simple naming system. Words were thought to correspond directly to objects in the world. Language appeared transparent, a window through which we see reality. Then came Ferdinand de Saussure, whose ideas completely changed the study of language. Saussure argued something revolutionary. Words do not possess meaning naturally. Instead, meaning emerges from relationships within a system. He called this system langue, the underlying structure of language. According to Saussure, every linguistic sign consists of two parts: the signifier, the sound or written form of a word; the signified, the concept or idea associated with that word.
The relationship between the signifier and signified is arbitrary. There is nothing inherently tree-like about the word tree. Another language uses arbe French, arbol Spanish, Sajjad Arabic. There is nothing inherently tree-like about the word tree. This means meaning is not natural. Meaning is produced by differences within a linguistic system.
A word means what it means because it is not something else.
For example, cat means cat because it differs from bat, rat, dog, and lion.
Meaning arises from contrast and relationships. Think of language as a chessboard. A chess piece has value not because of its material, but because of its position within the system. Similarly, words gain meaning through their position within language. This insight became the foundation of structuralism. Structuralism applies Saussure's linguistic model to culture. Structuralists believe that beneath all human activities lie hidden structures that organize meaning. Whether studying literature, myths, films, religion, fashion, or politics, the goal is to uncover the underlying system. Structuralists ask, what structures make meaning possible? Rather than focusing on individual works, they search for patterns.
One of the most influential structuralists was Claude Lévi-Strauss. He argued that myths from different cultures share deep structures.
For example, many myths contain oppositions, such as life and death, nature and culture, good and evil, male and female. These binary oppositions help human beings organize reality.
According to structuralism, human thought itself operates structurally.
Structuralist critics analyze literature as a system. They focus on narrative patterns, recurring motifs, archetypes, genres, and conventions.
Instead of asking, what did the author intend? They ask, what structures produce meaning in this text? For example, fairy tales often follow predictable patterns.
A problem appears. A hero begins a quest. Obstacles arise. The hero succeeds. Order is restored. Structuralists seek these universal narrative structures.
Structuralism offered something scholars desperately wanted: scientific certainty. It promised objective analysis. If literature follows underlying structures, critics can discover those structures systematically.
Meaning appears stable. Language appears orderly. Interpretation appears manageable.
For a time, structuralism seemed capable of explaining everything. But then the cracks began to appear. The problem emerged from within Saussure's own theory. Remember, meaning depends on difference. A word gains meaning because it differs from other words. But this raises a troubling question. If meaning depends on other words, where does meaning ultimately stop? Consider,
what is a tree? You might answer, a plant. But what is a plant? A living organism.
What is an organism? Another word, and another, and another.
Meaning seems endlessly deferred. This problem became the starting point for post-structuralism. In the 1960s, Jacques Derrida launched one of the most influential critiques in modern thought. He asked a simple but devastating question. What if the stable center assumed by structuralism does not exist? Structuralists believed systems have organizing structures. Derrida argued that these structures never achieve complete stability. Meaning is always shifting. Language never arrives at a final destination. One of Derrida's most famous concepts is difference. This term combines two ideas: difference. Words gain meaning through distinctions. Deferral. Meaning is always postponed. When we define a word, we use more words. Those words require further definitions. Meaning therefore never becomes fully present. It is always deferred. For Derrida, language is an endless chain of signification. Suppose someone asks, what is freedom? You explain using other concepts: rights, autonomy, choice, and independence. But each of these concepts requires further explanation. Meaning continually moves. There is no final, absolute definition waiting at the end. This insight fundamentally challenged structuralism. Derrida's method became known as deconstruction. Many people misunderstand deconstruction. It does not mean destroying a text. Instead, it means revealing tensions, contradictions, and instabilities within language. Deconstruction asks, what assumptions does the text rely on? What contradictions undermine those assumptions? What meanings are excluded? How does the text destabilize itself? Rather than finding one correct meaning, deconstruction uncovers multiple possibilities. Structuralists emphasize binary oppositions: speech and writing, man and woman, reason and emotion, presence and absence. Derrida argued that these binaries are never neutral. Usually one term is privileged. For example, speech is often valued over writing, reason over emotion, presence over absence. Derrida showed that these hierarchies are unstable. The supposedly inferior term often makes the superior term possible. Thus, the opposition begins to collapse. Consider a novel that celebrates rationality. A deconstructive reading might reveal moments where irrational desires secretly drive the plot. The text undermines its own message. Meaning becomes unstable. The critic's task is to trace these contradictions. Let us summarize the difference. Structuralism. Meaning is produced through structures. Language functions as an organized system. Binary oppositions create meaning. Objective analysis is possible. Stable interpretations can be achieved. Post-structuralism. Structures are unstable. Language never delivers final meaning. Binary oppositions can be deconstructed. Interpretations are multiple. Meaning is always shifting. Structuralism searches for order. Post-structuralism questions that order. Imagine structuralism as a detailed map. The map suggests the world is organized, measurable, and understandable. Post-structuralism points to the ocean beneath the map. The ocean moves, its boundaries shift, its currents change. No map can completely capture it. Similarly, no interpretation can completely capture meaning. Post-structuralism transformed literary criticism. It influenced reader response theory, feminist criticism, post-colonial criticism, queer theory, and cultural studies. In his famous essay, The Death of the Author, Barthes argued that meaning belongs not to the writer but to readers and language itself. The focus shifted from certainty to interpretation. The debate between structuralism and post-structuralism is not merely academic. It affects how we understand literature, politics, media, identity, and culture. Whenever someone claims a text has one fixed meaning, structuralist assumptions are at work. Whenever someone argues that meanings are multiple, contested, and unstable, post-structuralist ideas are present. The journey from Saussure to Derrida represents one of the most significant shifts in modern intellectual history. Saussure taught us that meaning emerges from structures and differences. Structuralists sought hidden systems beneath culture. But Derrida showed that those systems contain instability at their core. Meaning is never completely fixed. Language never fully arrives. Texts always contain more possibilities than we initially see. Structuralism gave us the architecture of meaning. Post-structuralism revealed the cracks in the architecture. And within those cracks, literary theory discovered an entirely new way of reading the world. When you read a poem, a novel, or even a social media post, do you think it has one correct meaning? Or do meanings change depending on who reads it? Share your thoughts in the comments. And join us for the next lecture as we continue exploring the most fascinating ideas in literary theory. Thank you for watching.